Hi there, my name is Ziad Sulman and I'm a second year student at the University of Toronto. The topic I chose to research is big data and privacy. Not only is this a current issue, but something that impacts me directly as an avid user of the internet. What puzzles me the most is that many people, myself included, do not seem to read the terms of service agreements or privacy policies. The purpose of this study is to gain a better understanding of whether people care about privacy policies and terms of service agreements and how their personal data is being used. For the current study, there are two main objectives. First, to determine if people read privacy policies and terms of service agreements and if they are concerned about the use of their personal data. Second, to determine if people are concerned about the use of their personal data yet feel that the risk is worth the reward of staying connected to their peers. My hypotheses are, first, it is to predict that people do not read the privacy policy or terms of service when using social media. Second, it is predicted people do not read thoroughly before accepting the privacy policy or terms of service agreement. Finally, it is predicted that people will demonstrate concerns over use of their personal data, but continue to use social media platforms regardless of how their personal data is being used. My primary research was conducted through a questionnaire posted on two social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. In addition, it was posted on Quarkus, accessible by my peers at the University of Toronto over a 3-week period. 86 responses were collected, but one participant did not accept the terms and conditions of the survey, so the results will reflect responses from 85 participants. The following results focus on the participants' use of social media. Results indicate that 91.8% who completed the questionnaire use social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. When asked if they use social media mostly for work or school, 63.5% of participants responded yes. More than 50% of the participants felt obligated to use social media because it benefits their social life, academics, or career. The following graphs focus on user privacy. When asked, "Do you read privacy policies and/or terms of service?" 36.5% of participants responded, "No, not really." 30.6% responded, "Yes, sometimes." And 21.1% responded, "No, never." And the remaining 5.8% responded, "Yes, always." When participants were presented with a privacy policy or terms of service, 55.3% of participants skimmed through and accepted. 40% accepted without reading, and the remaining 4.7% read thoroughly and accepted when presented with a privacy policy or terms of service. When participants were asked, "Do you know how social media platforms use your data?" 48.2% responded, "Sometimes," and the remaining participants were split between no and most of the time. When participants were asked, "Do you trust social media platforms with your data?" 56.5% responded no, 37.6% responded sometimes, and 5.9% responded yes. In my final question, I wanted to determine whether participants preferred having a governing body regulate terms of service on social media. 89.4% indicated yes, they would prefer to have a governing body, while the remaining 10.6% responded no. My secondary research was conducted through traditional and electronic searches of peer-reviewed articles, books, and government documents using Google Scholar and the University of Toronto libraries. Other secondary data was compiled from websites. The results of the questionnaire supported the first hypotheses and indicated that a majority of participants sometimes or rarely read the terms of service agreements. This result is supported by research from Steinfeld and Robinson and Zhu. Robinson and Zhu reported results showing that users were quick to click accept when presented with a 200-word change in terms of service, and 74% of users chose a quick join option. Steinfeld found that when participants were provided with a quick join option, most users skip reading the policy entirely. The most interesting finding from this research study was how easily people were willing to give up their privacy to use social media. From data collected, more than half of the participants did not trust social media, yet they were still willing to use the platform to stay connected. How long can corporations and governments exploit users for profit? And how far can they go before society puts a stop to the multi-billion-dollar industry? Privacy concerns are a highlighted topic in the media and at the forefront of everybody's mind, especially as technology advances so rapidly. With smart devices in homes, vehicles, and projects like smart cities in the works, personal data inevitably gets misused. Not only that, but there is a lack of regulation surrounding the privacy of personal data. There is a clear indication that citizens cannot protect themselves if the policies remain as they are. In Canada, approximately half of the adult population has literacy skills at the high school level. Most of the privacy policies require a college-level education to read and understand. Perhaps it is time for the government or governing body to step in and create tighter restrictions around privacy policies so that citizens can be more informed. Some places like the US and European Union have governing bodies in place to regulate personal information collection and use. There are significant gaps in the research when it comes to understanding how developing countries manage rights around the use of personal data. Do they experience the same problems? Do their citizens feel informed? Collecting and using personal data from social media platforms is a very small piece of the puzzle. Companies and governments are collecting data all the time, and it is crucial for citizens to understand their rights so that they are not put in a vulnerable position. Society is evolving, and new legislation should be established to meet our ever-growing needs. I would like people to understand what they are giving up when using the internet. We owe it to ourselves and each other to read the fine print and not take our privacy for granted. With my presentation, I hope that I was able to shed some light on the current issues of big data and privacy. Thank you.